for the unit on action research. We have already studied about the meaning of action research, the definition of action research, and in the second video lecture you have studied about the process of action research and its cyclic nature. Today we will discuss about the different tools that are used by action researcher in carrying out their research work. We have already studied that action research is a systematic process, and this systematic process is different from some mere opinion or an expression of personal views. It is based on evidence, and evidence is given in form of data. So obviously action research is a systematic process like other research activities, and it is qualified as a research activities because whatever conclusions are given through action research, it is based on proper evidence, and those evidences are given collected in form of data. तो क्रियात्मक अनुसंधान में चूँकि वह प्रमाणों पर आधारित होता है, इसलिए उसे रिसर्च के अन्य गतिविधियों के सापेक्ष ही रख करके हम लोग देखते हैं और उसे रिसर्च के रूप में हम लोग देखते हैं टीचरों के द्वारा किए गए इंक्वायरी को। और एविडेंस का होना, प्रमाण का होना आंकड़ों के रूप में, यह इसे रिसर्च के लिए उपयुक्त बनाता है। तो डेटा कलेक्शन करने के लिए हमें बहुत सारे भिन्न भिन्न उपकरणों की आवश्यकता पड़ती है और वी नीड डिफरेंट टूल्स टू कलेक्ट डेटा. So in this discussion we will be studying about the different tools that are used by action researcher. Now the question arises, why we need data? I have already told you that action research is based on evidence, and the data provides the needed evidence for action research. If we go in detail about the process of action research, we can say that data is needed at different points in the action research process. You should make it clear over here that you are not going to collect data at any single point in the entire process of action research. Rather, there are many different times in the entire process in which you are engaged in collecting data. For example, you are trying to identify a problem for yourself. एक शिक्षक के रूप में आप कुछ समस्याओं को देखते हैं और कुछ समस्याओं को आप सेंस करते हैं. उन समस्याओं को और बेहतर तरीके से समझने के लिए, उस समस्या को परिभाषित करने के लिए आपको कुछ आंकड़ों की ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है. यू मे नीड डेटा फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट, यू मे नीड डेटा फ्रॉम द ऑफिस, यू मे नीड डेटा इन फॉर्म ऑफ योर ओन ऑब्जर्वेशन टू अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम in a more refined way. So that is one point where you need data in identifying your problem. Then again, as you have seen in the process of action research, that it involves identifying the problem, and in light of that problem you design an intervention. You design an intervention and implement it. So when you are designing the intervention, जब कोई कार्यक्रम को आप डिजाइन करते हैं अपने समस्या के समाधान के लिए, तो उस कार्यक्रम जिसकी आप डिजाइन रूपरेखा तैयार कर रहे हैं, वह रूपरेखा भी कुछ आंकड़ों पर आधारित हो सकता है. तो उससे संबंधित आंकड़े भी आपको एकत्रित करने पड़ सकते हैं. सो यू मे कलेक्ट डेटा रिलेटेड टू द इंटरवेंशन प्रोग्राम. सो दैट इज़ येट अनदर पॉइंट वेयर यू नीड डेटा और एविडेंस. एंड फाइनली, the logical one is that when you implement your intervention, जब आपने अपने कार्यक्रम को implement कर दिया तो उसके प्रभावों को जानने के लिए आपको आंकड़ों की ज़रूरत पड़ती है. So you need data to find out the consequences of the intervention program that was implemented by you. So these were the 3 points. So we have seen that there are 3 different points in the action research process where you can use the tools to collect data. Now, what are the different tools that we can use? So, there are a variety of tools that are used by the action researcher. For example, reflective journals is used as a tool to collect data. Field notes are taken during the process. Then you have interviews as another mode of collecting data. You have rubrics, you have maps and photographs, test scale questionnaires, and many others can be added. It should be made clear over here that these are not the only tools that action researcher uses during their action research process. ये कुछ लिस्ट आपकी समझ के लिए दिए गए हैं, लेकिन ये इतना ही नहीं है. रिसर्चर अपनी आवश्यकता अनुसार इनोवेटिव तरीके से नए टूल्स का भी प्रयोग कर सकते हैं. So we'll just see about the important and the most popular tools that the researcher used one by one. The first one we'll see reflective journals. Reflective journals, as the name suggests, journal is a sort of notebook that you prepare based on your reflections. So you think about some event, you may think about some event happening in the classroom, you may think about your personal observations, and then you prepare a note of the same in your personal diary. So that we call as reflective journals. You record the observations, you record your thoughts. Many often when we are in the practice of teaching or when we are engaged in teaching, many new ideas comes to our mind, or we make certain observation in the classroom that we may miss afterwards. So it's better we write it down somewhere, prepare a record of those ideas coming to our mind और द ऑब्जर्वेशंस दैट वी आर मेकिंग. जो भी पढ़ाते समय, शिक्षण के कार्य को करते समय कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशंस, अवलोकन हम कर रहे हैं, या कोई विचार हमारे मन में आ रहा है, महत्वपूर्ण है, जो आगे हम मिस कर सकते हैं, उन चीज़ों को हम सिस्टमेटिक तरीके से डेट वाइज एक जगह रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन करते हैं. तो इसको हम लोग रिफ्लेक्टिव जर्नल कहते हैं. रिफ्लेक्टिव जर्नल के अंतर्गत ही कभी कभी फील्ड नोट भी हम लोग रखते हैं. या फील्ड नोट से तात्पर्य है कि जो हम क्लास शिक्षण के दौरान जो भी हमने ऑब्जर्व किया या जो भी हमने सोचा या जो भी कोई महत्वपूर्ण घटना घटी हो उसको हम लोग नोट करते हैं. सो एज आई हैव टोल्ड यू जस्ट हियर, द फील्ड नोट्स आर ऑब्जर्वेशंस, what you have seen, what you have observed, what you have felt, what idea came to your mind, and all those are verbalized and recorded in a written form. So they become field notes. So reflective journals many often include these field notes as well. These field notes may be written in relation to the problem and the process of solving that problem. So throughout the entire action research process, you may be facing some, you may be observing something that is important. Those things may be written down. So all these different things are included in the reflective journal. Afterward, you may go back through the journals to get some idea, to get more information about the entire process of your research. Next we come to interviews, and we all know that interview is a very strong medium to get in-depth information from the students. Formally, interview is a face-to-face interaction between the teacher and the student, but in the real situation the interviews may be carried out one-to-one. Individual student may be interviewed by the teacher one by one, or the teacher may interview a group of students simultaneously. Furthermore, with the advancement of technology, we can use different technological devices like Skype, Google Meet, etc. also to interview the students. Interview is one of the most important tool that is used by the teachers, and the importance of interviews lie in the fact that it helps the teacher to get more in-depth information about whatever a problem or whatever phenomena the teacher is interested in, and they want to know about it. So the student may not be very fluent in expressing themselves in a written form. So but when you interact with the students as a teacher, when you talk with them, then verbally, orally they are more they feel more convenient and they can express themselves more effectively. However, when you are using an interview, you should be a skilled teacher in using interviews. You will have to follow the preliminary requirement to carry out the interview. You should have developed a good rapport with the student before you are going to interview the student. The student should feel at ease with you, should feel comfortable with you in answering your questions. So all these are important things that a teacher must develop an expertise on. क्योंकि इंटरव्यू वैसे तो सुनने में लगता है कि आसान है, फेस टू फेस बैठ करके हम बातचीत करते हैं, परंतु आपका उद्देश्य वहाँ पर बच्चों से इन डेप्थ जानकारी निकालना है, और ये तभी संभव होगा जब क्या प्रश्न पूछना है, कैसे पूछना है, कब पूछना है, एक अच्छे रिलेशनशिप को विकसित करते हुए आप बच्चों से पूछ सकें. सो यू obviously have to develop a good rapport with the student, and you have to be very clear in your decision about what, how and when to place a question for the students. Then third, we may have rubrics. Many often when you are carrying out your action research may be related to the student's work. For example, I give you assignments and I may feel a problem with the assignments. So I want to carry out an action research related with the assignment being given to the student and submitted by the student. So suppose that I want to see what is the problem in the standard of the assignment submitted by the student, what is the lacuna that is there in the quality of assignment submitted by the students. For that I need data. I want certain evidence to show that the quality is not up to mark. So to collect data I can use rubrics. Rubrics is nowadays very popular tool that is being used to assess the students' performance. What is a rubric? Rubric is a description of student performance level and the corresponding grades. So it's nothing new. However, the openness, the clarity of evaluation criteria is being included now. So when you prepare a rubric, you prepare a description of what performance you are expecting from the student, and then you try to grade that performance. आप बच्चों से अपने उनके असाइनमेंट में क्या अपेक्षा रखते हैं और उस अपेक्षा को आप कई ग्रेड में बांटते हैं. फिर हर ग्रेड का आप एक विवरण तैयार करते हैं और उसी विवरण के अनुसार बच्चों के परफॉर्मेंस को हम इवेलुएट करते हैं और उसे ग्रेड देते हैं. तो इस प्रकार एक डिस्क्रिप्शन तैयार करने से आपके मूल्यांकन में एक स्थायित्व आता है और एक एक्यूरेसी उसमें आता है. सो यू आर एबल टू मेक योर इवेल्युएशन more consistent and more accurate by using the rubrics, because it is already given in the rubrics that when you are going to, suppose you are going to give a grade of 4 to a student. So what is the criteria for giving grade 4 to the student? The description is written over there. If you are giving a grade of 1 to a student for his assignment, so a description of grade 1 is given over there. Most often, in generally what is followed in the classroom, the teachers used to give a grade to the student as often we give you grade A, B, C, D like that. But there is no explanation that why, on what basis A has been given to the student and on what basis C has been given to the student. When we prepare a rubric, we make it clear. तो एक तरह से हम स्पष्ट कर देते हैं कि अगर 4 दे रहे हैं तो क्या उसके क्राइटेरिया हैं, अगर 1 दे रहे हैं तो क्या उसके क्राइटेरिया हैं. इस प्रकार का एक डिस्क्रिप्शन जब तैयार करके हम रखते हैं और उसके आधार पर मूल्यांकन करते हैं तो उसको हम लोग रूब्रिक कहते हैं. सो रूब्रिक इज़ द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट परफॉर्मेंस. हाउएवर, इट इज़ टाइम कंज्यूमिंग टू कंस्ट्रक्ट. There is no doubt that rubric if prepared, will make evaluation, will make the data more accurate, but many often the teacher avoid creating rubrics because it takes too much time to finalize the different level of performance characteristics. This is an example of rubrics. You can see, for example, I want to see, I have given only one component of the assignment. There may be more than one component that we are going to look into the assignment. Suppose that in our assignment we want to see the organization, the structure, the fluency of language, accuracy of language, etc., etc. Now, if you take one characteristic, that is structure. So, when I look at the structure of the assignment submitted by the student, I may divide it into 4 levels of performance. I give a grade of 4 when all the criteria in the assignment related to structure are found in the assignment. For example, for 4, all criteria are met and the description is structure is very apparent and is used to organize ideas. All ideas within a section are related to each other. So, the box is showing what should be there in the assignment to give a grade of 4 on the point of structure of the assignment. Similarly, a description is given in the last column when very few criteria is made. This description provides the criteria against which you are going to check the structure of the assignment. जो भी assignment जमा हुए हैं उनको आप कई भिन्न भिन्न क्राइटेरिया पर मूल्यांकन कर सकते हैं. एक क्राइटेरिया दिया गया है स्ट्रक्चर का. अब स्ट्रक्चर क्राइटेरिया के आधार पर असाइनमेंट का मूल्यांकन जब हम करेंगे तो हम 4 कब देंगे और 1 कब देंगे, उसका एक संक्षेप विवरण उसके आगे लिखा हुआ है. 4 में लिखा हुआ सारे क्राइटेरिया मेट होते हैं स्ट्रक्चर के, 1 में लिखा हुआ कि स्ट्रक्चर के बहुत कम क्राइटेरिया मीट करते हैं. फिर ये क्राइटेरिया क्या है वो उसके नीचे दिया हुआ है. 1 में क्राइटेरिया क्या है वो उसके नीचे दिया हुआ है. तो इस तरह से हम लोग असाइनमेंट का मूल्यांकन इस रूब्रिक के आधार पर करेंगे. Then there are audio video recordings. Many often the teacher faces problem in the classroom and those problems that cannot be written down or cannot be known through simple questionnaire method by asking students certain questions. Rather, your keen observation is more important in giving you insight into the problem. उन बच्चों के विभिन्न विभिन्न प्रकार के व्यवहार क्लास में होते हैं, उन व्यवहारों को शिक्षण के दौरान ही नोट करना संभव नहीं है या बच्चों से क्वेश्चनायर के माध्यम से सही बात को निकलवाना संभव नहीं है. कभी कभी क्या होता है, उनका अगर ऑब्जर्वेशन क्लास के बाद हम कर सकते हों तो वो हमें और बेहतर इंसाइट प्रदान करता है. तो उसके लिए ऑडियो वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हो जाता है. वी शुड try to find out the non-verbal aspects of behavior through the video recording. If your problem of concern is related to some non-verbal aspect of student's behavior, then video recording is a very good option for collecting data. It also provides you ample time. You can come out of the class, go through the video and you can observe it keenly to find out the different aspects of the problem. When we come to artifacts, artifacts simply is a sample of a student's work. The student's work can be anything. It can be a project, it can be a paper written by them, it can be an assignment completed by them, it can be a field visit done by them. So whatever artifacts the students carry out many different activities, carry out many different projects. You have to select just a sample of that and from that you can collect data required for your research. The artifacts give you a very clear picture of what the students have performed as a result of the intervention that you have created and implemented. Now to assess the artifacts, to assess the student's performance, you can use a checklist. Checklist is yet another type of tool that are very commonly used by the teachers in daily classroom teaching as well as for the research purpose. तो चेकलिस्ट का प्रयोग हम लोग विद्यार्थियों के द्वारा किए गए कार्य को जानने के लिए कर सकते हैं. चेकलिस्ट इज अ लिस्ट ऑफ एट्रीब्यूट्स. एट्रीब्यूट का तात्पर्य यहाँ पर है इंडिकेटर से, बिहेवियर से. उदाहरण के लिए आप देख सकते हैं कि आपने बच्चों के द्वारा किए गए कार्य को देख रहे हैं और उसको आप चेकलिस्ट पर देखना चाहते हैं. एक चेकलिस्ट के माध्यम से उसका मूल्यांकन करना चाहते हैं. तो उस चेकलिस्ट में एक लिस्ट ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स होंगे जो असाइनमेंट के विभिन्न पहलुओं से संबंधित हो सकते हैं. आप किसी विद्यालय में जा रहे हैं, आप वहाँ देखना चाहते हैं कि विद्यालय में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फैसिलिटी क्या क्या है, तो आप एक लिस्ट बनाएंगे बाथरूम की, चेयर की, टेबल की, कंप्यूटर की, लैब की, और फिर उस पर आप टिक लगाते जाते हैं. या अगर एक से अधिक संख्या में कोई चीज़ हो तो उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी आप वहाँ पर लिख सकते हैं. सो you write down the statements, you write down the different items, you prepare a list of the items, and then you either put a tick against each item or you put a number representing the frequency or the number of times that particular item has been observed by you. So it's a very simple tool, but it is very popular and it is widely used by the teachers and also in action research. After checklist, for students assignment, checklist can be used for students assignment. It can be used for their projects. It can be used to evaluate the classroom environment. So there are many things that you can use. This is an example of the checklist. There are 4 elements given. Again, the example I have taken about your assignment. Suppose I want to see the assignment. So I have given 4 criteria, 4 indicators. Illustrations are given in the assignment. Explanations are included in the assignment. Innovative ideas are there or not. Examples are properly used or not. So there is yes, no. I will put yes or no over there. Or if sometimes illustrations are more than once, I can also put the frequency over there. So our next tool that is used by the teacher in their action research process is the rating scale. And rating scale is again very convenient, very simple tool for collection of data. It generally determines the strength of student response. In this type of tool, you have to write down certain statements about the object against which you want to know the student's response. Suppose I want to know your attitude towards B.Ed program. For that I will have to write down a series of statements, and then a scale will be attached against each statement. The student will have to put a tick, have to respond against the different options given on the scale. So the different options, for example, again let me clarify it with an example that one of the statement may be written, I like to take the classes regularly in the B.Ed program. This is a statement and the student has to respond to it. So I have written attached a scale with 3 points. Suppose the 3 points may be strongly agree, neutral, strongly disagree. So depending upon what is your position or depending upon what is the student's position, they will put a tick on one of the 3 options. So those 3 points, 3, 2, 1, a 3 point is given for strongly disagree, a 2 point is given for neutral, and 1 point is given for strongly agree. In that way, the student will put a tick on 3, 2 or 1. So there may be different different point scales that can be used by the teacher. You can use a 3-point scale, you can use a 5-point scale, you can use a 7-point scale. Then you can use either numbers over there, or you can write a one word description over there. Just as I have told you, we can write strongly agree, neutral, strongly disagree. So it can take many different forms. The purpose is that the student will respond in degrees. You have a statement, you have a scale. For each statement, the student will express their degree. Spend their time at homework at their home. You can write 4 statements like this: I read at home each day, I watch TV at home each day, and then you have attached a 4-point scale over there: 4, 3, 2, 1. You can also mention that 4 means many, often; 3 means often; 2 means seldom; 1 means rarely. So different descriptions may also be given over there, and then the student will get a clear idea what 4 means, what 3 means, what 2 means, what 1 means, and accordingly they can put a tick over there. So in this way you use a rating scale as a tool during your action research process. Now this is the most common, the survey questionnaire, and we are all aware with it. You might also have filled a survey questionnaire many often. Recently I have sent a form, Google form, to you all to be filled by you. So in that direct questions are given to the students, and they have to respond to it. The response of the students may vary depending upon whether the question is open-ended or the question is closed-ended. For example, if a question is like this: what is your favorite reading genre? And then you are providing 4 options: history, comedy, science fiction, mystery. So this is an example of closed-ended questionnaire. The student will have to pick out any one of the 4 choices. Again, some questions may be open-ended, like what kinds of books do you like to read? You have not provided any option. It might be that you want to explore how many different options may come out. So you give an open-ended, and the student will have to write in their own what particular type of books they read in their leisure time. तो इन दोनों ही परिस्थितियों का प्रयोग हम लोग अलग अलग सिचुएशन में ओपन एंडेड या क्लोज्ड एंडेड क्वेश्चनायर का प्रयोग हम लोग कर सकते हैं. क्वेश्चनायर को बनाने में कुछ सावधानियां भी बरतनी पड़ती हैं. क्वेश्चन को लिखते समय वी शुड टेक केयर दैट वी आर नॉट राइटिंग एम्बिगुअस स्टेटमेंट्स. द क्वेश्चन शुड बी एज सिंपल एज पॉसिबल, as concise as possible. It should not be loaded. Loaded means you are not giving any direction to the student in the question. It should not use double negative. स्टेटमेंट इस प्रकार का नहीं होना चाहिए कि एक ही चीज़ को वो 2 बार खंडन उसमें हो रहा हो. सो इस तरह के तमाम चीज़ें हैं जो और मेथडोलॉजी वाले सेक्शन में हम लोग, आप लोग बड़ी क्लासों में भी पढ़ेंगे रिसर्च मेथड वाले सेक्शन में. और लिटरेचर रिव्यू करके भी आप देख सकते हैं कि क्या क्या सावधानियां हमें क्वेश्चनायर बनाते समय बरतनी चाहिए. लेकिन मूलतः 2 प्रकार के ओपन एंडेड या क्लोज्ड एंडेड क्वेश्चनायर का प्रयोग हम लोग करते हैं. इसके अलावा जैसा मैंने कहा, द एक्शन रिसर्च इज़ नॉट कन्फाइंड टू a particular list of tools to be used. The teacher may design new tools, the teacher may innovate, the teacher may think about more relevant tools. Some examples are given over there: the teacher's personal diaries, the students' portfolios. You can create a map. Most often when you want to see the movement in the classroom, or you want to check which part of the classroom is more active and which part of the classroom is more inactive, you can create a map of that on a day-to-day basis, and then you can just analyze those maps and find out where the particular group of students in the class are not inactive. So and many more other tools are also there that you can think about and you can use in the action research process. the final words for this video lecture is that action research, as I have told you in the beginning of the lecture, it is systematic and it is qualified as a research because it is based on evidence. However, an true action research never relies on any one particular tool or any one particular source of data. A good action research always employs variety of tools and diverse sources of information to validate their knowledge. So the action researchers should use multiple tools, and hence data collection should be from diverse sources. If you are creating an intervention, as it is a general process in action research, in any action research you have a problem, and for that problem you design an intervention. आप एक समस्या की पहचान करते हैं और उस समस्या के अनुरूप आप एक इंटरवेंशन प्रोग्राम को डिजाइन करते हैं। फिर उस इंटरवेंशन प्रोग्राम के प्रभावशीलता को आप देखते हैं। इस पूरी प्रक्रिया के दौरान आप अलग अलग स्थानों पर, अलग अलग पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पर अलग अलग टूल्स का प्रयोग करते हैं। ड्यूरिंग द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ द इंटरवेंशन you make observations, you collect data from the student, you write reflective journals, and then you synthesize the data coming from different sources to get an idea about whether your intervention is going in the right direction or not, or what changes you can incorporate in your intervention program to make it more effective. Again, when the intervention program is over, you again collect data in different forms. You analyze your reflective journal, you think about, reflect upon your own observations, you collect data from the students and from other people as well. So different sources of data are collected to make a decision about your intervention program. So with these final words, I have presented the different tools that are used in action research. You can find more detail about each individual tool in the literature. You can search the net if you are interested in more detail about the tools, and you can get it from there. So dear students, we have almost completed the topics related to action research. One more video is pending for you, and within a few days I will be sending it to you, and that will be related to the professional development of teacher. So till then, thank you very much for watching this video, and if there is any query, you send it on the WhatsApp group. Thank you very much.